Hello fellow FPL managers and welcome to today's video where we'll be looking at the top 5 forwards who I think are great options to start the season with. I'll also be looking at a few honourable mentions just before we get into that top 5. So kicking off with a few honourable mentions then, so who didn't quite make that top 5 list, and we'll be looking at Jimenez, Jota, King and Rashford. Now it's no secret that value seems to be in defence this year, and a lot of people think that the time for even one, let alone two premium strikers is at an end. If you are someone who is looking for that cheaper set of forward options, then I suggest to look no further than these 4 players. First of all, I'll talk about Jimenez. He was the FPL forward hero for many last season. He started at 5.5 million and finished at 6.9 million. The Mexican marksman posted 181 points in 3,112 minutes, getting 13 goals and 10 assists. The Wolves forward is worth 7.5 million this season and is currently the most selected forward, being chosen by 38.2% of players of the FPL game. He just misses out on the top 5 for me because whilst he was a great bargain last season, he has seen a 2 million increase and is now worth 7.5 million. Also, despite finishing the season as the 3rd best forward, it is key to note that he played the most out of any other forward in the Premier League. So when I compare his price and his points per match to that of the others on today's list, he just misses out on that top 5. Also, Wolves have a tough start to the season with 4 difficult fixtures in the first 8 game weeks, all whilst balancing their Europa League adventure with a squad that lacks a little bit of attacking depth. Alongside Jimenez is his strike partner Jota, valued 1 million cheaper. The 6.5 million man would be another excellent cheap forward option. Jota played significantly fewer minutes as a lot of players on this list, as he scored 139 points in only 2,352 minutes with 9 goals and 8 assists. However, he holds the same negative reasons as Jimenez with tough opening fixtures and not a lot of squad depth. But also it's important to note that Jota this year is a forward in the game, whereas last season he was a midfielder. Next is another popular option in Joshua King at Bournemouth. The Norwegian striker is owned by 20.3% of the game and is great value for money at 6.5 million. Last season he picked up 12 goals and 3 assists, and with King apparently on penalties and Bournemouth's opening 2 fixtures against 2 newly promoted sides, King would be a great cheap option. However, he misses out on the top 5 due to his lack of assists and his points per game ratio. Even though he finished 9th overall in the forwards category, he played the 2nd most minutes of any forward in the Premier League and managed an average of 4 points per game, which put him in 12th place overall. Finally, a quick mention of Marcus Rashford. At 8.5 million, the young Englishman seems to be the locked-on first-choice striker for Manchester United this season. And whilst he only posted 128 points last campaign, it is useful to note that he played the fewest minutes of any of the forwards who I'll talk about today, where he only played 2,331 minutes. Moving into the top 5 now, and at number 5 it is Aubameyang. For me, he has been hugely overlooked this year, but the 11 million Arsenal frontman was the highest forward scorer last season with 205 points and the joint 2nd highest scorer in terms of points per game. With 22 goals and 7 assists, Aubameyang was also the joint Golden Boot winner from last season. Arsenal start their campaign at Newcastle and then they're at home to Burnley. So why have only 17.3% opted to go for Aubameyang? Probably for the same reason why he's my number 5. Premium forwards are not as popular this season, with defenders plus Salah and Sterling to try and fit into your team, and he plays for Arsenal. And I don't mean that as a dig for Arsenal, but they are quite a volatile team, a bit inconsistent. You never know really what you're going to get with the Gunners. Also, they don't have the easiest first 5 game weeks in comparison to the other sides. They start the season at Newcastle, then they face Burnley, but then they travel to Anfield to face Liverpool, and then they're at home to Spurs. In at 4, it's Sergio Agero. The FPL legend was just behind Aubameyang last season, scoring 21 goals and getting 11 assists. However, Agüero was 11th in terms of minutes played and 1st for points per game. If this man plays, he is practically essential. He is arguably the most clinical striker to ever have graced the Premier League. He has not failed to score more than 20 goals in a season since his very first campaign back in the 2013 to 2014 season. season, where he still bagged 17 goals and 11 assists in just 1,528 minutes. So he has only two reasons why he isn't higher up on my list, but they're quite big reasons. First of all, his price. He is the most expensive forward at 12 million, and as I've said a couple of times now, value seems to be in defense and even midfield this year. Agero was outscored by 2 defenders and 3 midfielders last season, and all except one of those are the same price or cheaper than the Argentinian. Point number 2 is minutes. Agero isn't getting any younger, and as the seasons go by, I feel as though his minutes are becoming fewer and fewer, and for 12 million for me, it's just too much of a risk to have a player possibly be rotated out. Number 3 sees the Spurs captain Harry Kane. Kane will perhaps be the first to admit he was a bit off the boil last season, grabbing only 160 points and finishing 8th overall. However, looks can be deceiving. Kane was 12th in terms of minutes played, playing fewer minutes than Sergio Agero, and the Englishman still grabbed 17 goals and 6 assists while finishing joint second in terms of points per game. Valued at 11 million, he has had a summer to take a break, which should hopefully help to limit the amount of injuries and fatigue, something which was key to his dip in FPL points last season. Also, Ndombele joining as a ball-winning midfielder should free up Dele Alli a little bit to push forward and help in attack, meaning Kane should be a little less isolated up front. Finally, Spurs start the season at home to Aston Villa, so for me, Kane is a really tempting forward to try and fit into your side. August curse or not, for 11 million you're getting a proven premium striker at a top club when, not injured, he usually plays 90 minutes and he is a key player for Tottenham Hotspur. The runner-up at number 2 is Callum Wilson. Limited to 2,528 minutes because of injury, the Bournemouth forward still bagged 14 goals and 12 assists. He finished the season 5th overall, 4th in terms of points per game, and 2nd in terms of assists. So lots of goals, lots of assists, opening 2 games against promoted sides, only 2 red difficulty fixtures in the first 10 game weeks, and lovely chemistry with another great FPL asset in Ryan Fraser means that for 8 million there's no better forward out there in terms of price to points value. The only reason he is not my number 1 is because of his injury record. In the 2015 to 2016 campaign, he missed 30 games. In the 2016 to 2017 season, he missed 25 games. And last season, he missed 8 games. The first 2 big injuries were cruciate ligament ruptures, and last season was a knee injury. Regardless, Wilson is a top striker, and if he can have a healthy preseason and keep fit, he is a fantastic option. And as I said before, he would be my number 1 if he can go a season without a long absence due to injury. So in at top spot for me is Jamie Vardy. Last season, the Foxes frontman finished with 174 points, scoring 18 goals and picking up 5 assists to finish 4th overall. He played the 3rd most minutes out of any forward, posting 2,726 minutes on the clock and finished 5th in terms of points per game. So with Vardy, you're getting a very consistent and proven striker. Also, since Brendan Rodgers took charge, Vardy scored 10 goals in 11 games and seems to really fit well with his manager's style of play. His link also with Tielemans, who has now joined on a permanent deal, seems to be very strong, and the addition of Perez from Newcastle on the wing should also help Jamie Vardy. Even though Leicester don't have the easiest start to the season with 4 red difficulty fixtures in the first 8 game weeks, that's actually a good thing for Vardy as he has an excellent record against the top 6 sides. He's got 8 goals against Arsenal, 7 against Liverpool, 5 against City, United and Spurs, and 4 against Chelsea. If Wolves have the reputation of upsetting the Big 6 as a team, then Vardy holds that title as an individual player. I believe that being owned by only 11.1% and being valued at 9 million makes Jamie Vardy the best forward option in terms of price, points, minutes and injuries. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. This video now completes the videos on this channel where I talk about the best options for goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders and now forwards. Let me know in the comments below your squads and tactics when it comes to forwards this season, and also remember to join my FPL league and perhaps even take a look at joining the Fanteam FPL game this season, where entry costs €25 but they will be giving out a whopping €250,000 over the course of the season. The link to Fanteam is in the comments below, as are all my social media handles. So good luck for the start of the season, guys, and as always, have a good one.